Hello and welcome to the Screen Chronicles. I'm Colby, and with me, as always, is El Stevo.
El Stevo.
Yes. How are you doing, Steve?
I'm doing good, Colby. How are you doing?
Good, because we get to talk about The Last Kingdom Season 4 again today, and today we get to talk about Episode 2. So if you've been keeping up with us, we're doing a podcast per episode where we're really kind of getting into the nitty-gritty of the episode, breaking it down. And we kind of give our review of it. We're going to be releasing probably our big bulkier season 3 podcast after a little bit after the season 4 kind of wave is kind of settling down a little bit.
Oh yeah, season 3 will still come out. We've just been busy. Those are bulkier ones, harder to edit, and we've been busy talking to members from the cast and watching season 4, and we want to make sure our season 4 stuff gets out there. So that stuff will still come out. If you're still lost after watching season 4 and you're like, but who's that? Why was that? We'll still have it there for you.
Thank you to everyone who's been reaching out, and the nice things that have been being said to us has been really unexpected, and we really appreciate every bit of it. So thank you very much.
Yeah, it's been great. All the positive things everyone's been saying. We've been really fortunate to be able to interact with some members from the cast, and even the ones that we don't have a show, just stuff we've been able to talk to. It's been really great. So everyone, cast and our fans too. It's been awesome, positive.
Yes, and we have some exciting plans. So we hope that you subscribe and follow on Instagram and stuff. And
check us out, YouTube and podcast. These episodes will be up on both. So
totally.
If you want to watch, we discuss in the last episode that we are wearing the same kind of shirt today. It was not planned.
We happened to shoot 2 episodes in one day, so we could have changed our shirts in between.
I didn't want to,
but I didn't want to. It's a comfy shirt, and
it is
we
good.
Look good. So
looks good on us.
It does look good on us.
What are you wearing next time?
Magenta or something.
Ooh, okay, me too.
Yeah, just don't know which one, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So let's do our rating first.
Okay.
Why don't you go first on episode 2? How would you rate episode 2?
This does kind of remind me of some other classic Last Kingdom episodes, where it's still kind of light. They're going on a little adventure. You see some weird things. You find some things out about some new characters. But it also kind of does this thing we'll talk about here where it kind of really shuts down something I wanted to happen from happening. I'm gonna have to give it an 8 out of 10 this episode, maybe a 7.5. Actually, I'm gonna stick to an 8. I'll stick with an 8.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. And you?
I'm gonna go 8.5.
Oh,
a little higher. This episode really didn't see what was coming. I agree with you. We'll get to talk about the thing you didn't like so much because it was a little different than your expectations. I also wanted something different, but I was very surprised, and I like that I was surprised. Does that make sense?
It does.
Because I didn't see it come. It really threw me off.
I like being surprised, but I don't like being Ryan Johnson, and I kind of feel like I got Ryan Johnson.
Oh, you think you got Ryan Johnson? I didn't totally feel like I got Ryan Johnson. I don't know. I kind of liked that they did it, but at the same time, I do feel like I'm missing out on something else. But overall, I think I like that they did it, and I guess we can get into the spoiler talk right now.
Yeah, so
everyone's probably like, "What are they talking about? What are they talking about?"
Spoiler alert!
About
for episode 2 of season 4 of The Last Kingdom. Here, we're gonna.
You shouldn't be watching this if you haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, go back, watch that, then come here. And I think we briefly said we're gonna go through. We're gonna kind of recap the episode. We're gonna talk about it. One thing we always talk about is our best bro moments. Uhtred and his gang. A lot of camaraderie. Colby and I are kind of bros with each other. We are bros with each other.
We are.
And so that's something we really identify with, and we like to observe and tell is our favorite thing, and also our favorite moments. Without further ado,
we are talking about Alfred, by the way.
Alfred.
If you're wondering. Just so you don't have to wait till the end of the episode.
He doesn't get I wouldn't say he gets snoked.
I don't think it's snoked.
But it's close as you can to getting snoked without completely Ryan Johnsoning me.
Yeah. Okay, but we'll get there. I just wanted to make sure we didn't leave people in suspense too much.
Just so you know what we're talking about.
we start the episode off with Uhtred's just doing a little, wrist slitting, and
That's right.
He's actually, what he's doing is it's on the
note.
back of his wrist. He kind of cuts it open and he's giving it to the water, and he mentions the goddess Ran. It's spelled like R-A with a weird thing over the A-N. And so I did a little research on who this was. It's a Norse goddess, and it's a personification of the sea. And she is often associated with a net that captures sea travelers, okay? And she was married in Norse mythology to Aegir, who was also a personification of the sea, and they had 9 daughters who personified the waves of the sea. So that was kind of interesting. So that's why that's who Uhtred's talking about here in the beginning. He's talking to his son, young Uhtred, because young Uhtred's a very pious deacon, Christian. And
that
so
shit ain't Christian.
That shit ain't Christian.
And he's like making an offering, right?
Making an offering, a blood
sort of
offering.
Appease the god of the sea is what he's doing.
Yeah. So, obviously his son is kind of, giving him crap because that ain't Christian at all.
That shit ain't
and Uhtred's like, give him something to do. And Finnan comes up with the poop bucket.
They're on their way so they heard that there's some monks that are they want to negotiate with Alfred at Bebbanburg, these monks, for the heart of Saint Oswald.
Yep.
So their plan is to intercept these monks first, have a man on the inside. You don't really know that at this point, but that's what their intention is to get Uhtred's son with them on the inside so they can do their SEAL Team 6 thing and get into the fort of Bebbanburg, because it's a big fort and it's hard to get in there. Uhtred's a strong dude, but he can't just ram through a fort. So that's their mission right now.
Yeah. So they're on their way. And that's why they're on this boat, and they just left at the end of episode 1. And another line in here that I thought was cool is Uhtred's talking, and he says something about his son, like, how can his blood run through my veins, like we're so different, or something to that effect. And I think it's Finnan who says this to him. He's like, oh, well, he does have your blood. He's got the blood of a stubborn bastard.
Yes, that's Finnan.
I thought it was a cool line. But it's clear that young Uhtred still kind of detests his dad and the things his dad believes in.
Yeah.
Because of the way young Uhtred was raised when he was sent to a monastery by Alfred.
Yes.
In season 3.
And Uhtred did have him for a while, but it seems like that was really the formative years of his life were spent in that church when Uhtred was on the run from Alfred. Because if you remember, Alfred wanted Uhtred to swear loyalty to Edward for life. Uhtred didn't want that at this point. And so him and Alfred had disagreement. Knees were thrown. Knives to necks were put out.
Placed in front of the Adam's apple. And
brothers were slapped to death.
The usual.
The usual.
The things in Winchester.
So Uhtred was gone for a while, and his son grew up, and he's a deacon for like a church. It's like a monk kind of thing. Right. It seems like a similar position.
I think he's on his way.
I might be ignorant to that. If anyone
priest,
knows, you can let us know. But
let us know. And then we cut to Edward's Hall, where Ethelfled is telling them of what Ethelred is doing, collecting the bones of St. Oswald. And Aelswith recognizes this. Remember, I think we forget, Aelswith is a Mercian.
Yeah, that is something I forgot until she mentioned this.
Yeah, she reminded us, and they do talk about it in the other seasons, but we don't have a lot of reason to think about it.
Yeah,
her being a Mercian, so
she's always in Winchester.
Yeah, right. And she's always in Wessex, and so she tells them, "Oh, this is a sign of intent that if they get all of the holy relics of Saint Oswald, then they're going to become independent of Wessex because it's a sign of like strength and unity in Mercia." Ethelhelm is there saying, let's just not even get involved. Let's not even get involved in this. It's not our thing. And it's just like, this guy is just spewing all the wrong things.
Yes. Ethelhelm, how he is, kind of reminds me of the Two Towers, where that one guy's like whispering to the king of Rohan. sort of
it's
getting
just
him.
kind of advisor thing. It reminds me of the priest whispering in Guthred's ear.
Ooh, yes, yeah,
And
yeah.
at the beginning of season 2, and there's a lot of examples, I think, in movies of like a kind of unstable or impressionable figurehead being influenced by their people close to them.
Yeah, someone that seems like they have their best interests and seems more
exactly.
experienced, but they're really just looking out for their own interests.
And then put yourself, what we see it, we're like, why are you even listening to this guy when we watch the show? You know what I mean? But you put yourself in Edward's shoes. I mean, this guy's his father-in-law.
Yeah.
He's, if his daughter's marrying, the son of a king, that means that this guy must have had a successful life and has honor and respect to some degree, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so I guess, like, from Edward's point of view, he's kind of been with this guy a while. I think he thinks that this guy is really giving him good information and good advice.
Mm-hmm.
But when we got to think about that when we're watching these shows. When we're watching it, we're like, Edward, come on, you want to shake him? Like, don't listen to this guy.
Edward is young too.
He's young.
So even though he had a promising start, I think you're right. He might not have had the experience and know how to actually run the kingdom, and probably Ethelhelm. We don't see this, but Ethelhelm probably stepped up and actually helped him at some point, kind of make some decisions
and
that
I think,
probably did work.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure. Ethelhelm is going to want to act in his own best interest.
Oh, that's definitely what he's doing now, though. Yeah.
All the time. But like, that doesn't mean he hasn't made good decisions for Wessex that we haven't seen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Edward, there might be a lot of good reasons for Edward to have trust in him, but we just don't know.
Yeah.
So here's an interesting scene, though, is because now, for the first time in the season, we see Alfred, the wife of Edward, and their son come in, and Aelswith is that kid's grandmother from Edward's side, and she goes like happy to see him and goes down to like give him like a hug.
Like, come here.
And he just runs right by her, and they show her like kind of getting up sad, like that's her grandson. You don't really.
I think Ethelhelm actually did kind of like, come here, kid. Don't go to her.
Yeah, he does something like that. You can tell she's upset about it. It's like, wow, that's messed up. And
yeah, that is really messed up.
And Edward is also doesn't really. In this scene, it's very evident that he does not care for that kid very much.
Yeah,
which was weird because it's like, that's still your kid, like.
Yeah, I don't get this. I've only seen up to episode 4. Again, we're only giving spoilers for episode 2 here. We're not gonna tell our information from other episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Colby has seen the whole thing, so maybe this makes sense to him. But I'm just like, what is going on here? At least right now, I don't understand this.
I'll talk about it in the way of how I was thinking when I was watching the episode. I was thinking to myself, this, like, the reason why is he treating this kid poorly? Is it because that's not his first kid? That's where my brain was at.
Because he had children with that other woman who
is it because
was shipped away to
he
the
never
church?
Grew to actually like this woman? You know what I mean? He is kind of nice to her when she puts her hand up, but he's still kind of cold. He's not totally mean to her, but he like straight up ignores that kid though.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering. I'm still kind of wondering, is this not his kid at all? Was this a child of infidelity on her end?
Wondered that too. It went through my head.
But it's really strange, and it's really annoying how Ethelhelm sort of keeps trying to push Aelswith out of the picture here. And you feel bad for her. I mean, I remember in Game of Thrones when Cersei started getting her comeuppance, and I was like really happy about it. But then at one point you were like, "Ooh, I feel bad for her. I want her to like get some revenge."
Yeah. That's a little bit what it's like so far with Aelswith.
Yeah, but
she was never
as evil as Cersei though. Aelswith.
No, but she was disliked. She was disliked on a pretty high level though. And there's moments early on in the season where she is pretty likable, honestly. At least not dislikable. There's a little interaction in episode 1 with Bianca where she is, but when she's saying this stuff to Edward and she's trying to convince Edward and Edward's shutting her down, it kind of makes Edward look like the mean one. and she's the one who's trying to give an idea. And a lot of times it is a good idea, or it's knowledgeable. It comes from experience. So it's interesting.
I think we cut then back to Uhtred and his group, and they just got off the boat at this town. I forget what the town his name is, but it's where the monks that they're looking for are at.
Yeah.
Where was that scene too, where Alfred is like looking out over the ramparts and like the sun is like behind him?
Was that the end of episode 1?
Oh, that was.
I think because it shows him looking over the wall at the end of episode 1 while Uhtred's sailing toward it. It doesn't show them seeing each other, but
I couldn't remember if that was this one or that one or this one. But anyway, I just wanted to say that was freaking sweet.
Might be this one too. I don't know exactly which one you're talking about, but there is.
I mean, it has to be either in the one before this one.
There's a couple shots of Alfred looking over the wall of Bember.
But it's really cool.
So anyway, we're back in this town of Grimsby, though.
Yeah, Grimsby. That's where they land.
Yeah. There's a pretty cool moment. Bianca's like, I'm going to stay back with young Uhtred. Young Uhtred isn't like trying to hang out with the bros, you know?
Oh, yeah, because Finnan, he goes, we need to find an ale house, maybe get some whores.
Why not? We're in Grimsby. What do you do? What happens in Grimsby stays in Grimsby.
Finnan's single, you know. He can do what he wants.
And
then he's like, I'm not. This isn't Christian. This shit ain't Christian.
Yeah.
And Bianca's like, I know some Christian shit. Let's go hang out together.
But he goes and he actually is like trying to convince young Uhtred, like your dad, like, yeah, he may have done some. He says a cool line here. He's admitting that like Uhtred has done some things that are wrong, but he says sometimes you must do wrong to do right.
Yes.
And he kind of goes through all the things that have happened to Uhtred, and trying to get young Uhtred to like see that his dad's a good dude.
Is this
like?
But anyway, it's a great scene. Bianca and him, just great bro moment.
It is.
Bianca giving out some bro advice.
It's kind of a bro moment between Uhtred and Bianca still, because the older Uhtred.
Yeah,
right?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
because he's the one, like he's on Uhtred's behalf.
Yeah,
talking him up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the ale house that the boys walk into, the bros, isn't super welcoming. Everyone's just staring at him. I think Finnan's like, "Don't look him in the eye, Citric."
Is it like kind of a Dane town too? Is that what it is? Because it looked like there might have been like some kind of Dane-looking people in there.
May have been I think they said something about Dane rule.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's a good point. So
it's more of a shady town then. It seems like it's
shady town.
Mix of people there that kind of just shady individuals.
Yeah, it's a shady town for sure. So anyway, they they go upstairs and it is a whorehouse. And this is Steve's favorite scene. So
real quick before that though, they say, you know, can we get a woman here? And I'm like, what are they? I guess they are looking for. And they're like, oh, Osfrith here, he's a virgin. Like, get him someone. Yeah. And they're like, oh, we don't have anyone. And he's like, here's some coin. And they immediately cut to this large woman just on this guy. Yeah. And they just see her in a room and just, oh.
Yeah, and the guy's like, yeah, she's yours for the night or whatever. And Osfrith's like, why do I always have to be the virgin or pretend to be the virgin? And Uhtred's like, because no one would ever believe that I'm a virgin. Like, come on, Osfrith.
Come on, look at this.
Look at me.
Look at me. No way.
And then it's Steve's favorite part.
Then it gets better.
They go. They walk into another room where they can like see through the wall. And there's two priests just being spanked.
Not like
the robes are.
Oh, you were bad, but like on their hands and knees, just getting whipped by.
And they're
these
praying
chicks.
At the same time, like, "Oh, God, have mercy on my soul."
Oh my God!
They're both doing it, and they're just it's a weird thing. Oh, it's so weird.
Osfrith is like, I am a virgin to that.
And Uhtred's like, I'm sure you are, because this is the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life. I mean, so anyway, the guy there goes like, you know, you guys pays extra to watch, you know, because that's kind of a, you know, a high demand thing in that town.
Standard rule.
Understandable. Uhtred's like, yeah, I know. So they leave, and
so they know where the priests, the monks are now. And so they go outside, and Uhtred then tells young Uhtred then, Oh, by the way, too, when Bianca was talking to young Uhtred on the boat before this all happened, young Uhtred then kind of got in his head. He's like, well, maybe I can convert my father then. So there is good in him.
Yeah.
And Bianca's like,
I tried. I've tried for a lot of years.
I've baptized him twice. And I've been around him forever. And no, don't. Okay, whatever. And he's like, but okay. So then he's like kind of like ready to do whatever his dad says. He's not super enthused, but he's ready to at least indulge.
Right.
So anyway, they get out of the alehouse. They know where the monks are. They're in there, so they're just going to wait till they come out. Uhtred tells young Uhtred, all right, you're very, priesty, monkey looking. You'd be great to go, not monkey.
You look like a monkey.
What a monkey. You know what I mean?
Oh, I would love a monkey. I've always told you that
yeah.
I want a gorilla sitting in the corner of my house all the time. Just sitting there, a huge, gigantic one, just eating all day. That's my dream. That'd be awesome, man. He just chills there, and I just, come in with my coffee, say good morning, and he just looks at me, goes back to eating. It'd just be great.
And no one acknowledges it. Everyone's just like, yeah, that's the way it is.
But I also want a little monkey that kind of rides on my shoulder and does evil things for me.
Ooh, yeah,
just like whisper at it, say it to do something, it goes, and it like goes on Steve and hits him in the head, and
like Jack Sparrow the monkey.
I do like a handshake with it.
So young Uhtred is that monkey that Uhtred is, but he tells them, I want you to then go with them. You're gonna get into Bebbanburg with them, and then you're gonna open the doors for us so we can do our SEAL Team 6. We'll kill Elfric.
Give us a sign.
I'm the rightful heir, so everyone will just want me there. It'll be great. Right. Easy plan. Go do it, buddy. And he's like, all right, I guess I will.
Yeah, he actually agrees. I think the talk with Bianca helped.
Yes.
If he's still hesitant about his dad, he still has some reservations, but I think it helped. Finnan and Osford bet. Is that when they bet?
Yeah.
They do like a bet.
Finnan's like, I don't know, 30 silver. He like just rides home or something like that.
They do like one of those forearm shake bets.
Why don't we do that?
We should be doing that.
You and I would be doing it.
Oh, we do it. Yeah, but
everyone should do it. Not right now.
Yeah,
social distancing and such, but maybe like next year at this time, we probably can do that again.
Yeah. So anyway, cut scene. We go back to Ethelred and Edith. Edith is still not having it.
She ain't giving that up.
Yeah, and I think this is actually where we learn about her father had been disgraced. That's why she says why we can't do it. She's like, because you're still married technically. I don't want this bad on your soul, because that's adultery. I'm looking out for you. That's why I don't want to do anything. And then he's like, you're right. I should have her killed. Again. And I said when I was watching this, I was like, oh, that's a great first idea you've ever had. That's not. When did you stop trying to have her killed? I want to know.
Haven't we done this before?
And she's not happy about that. She's like, oh shoot, what did I just say? Because she seems like a good person.
Yeah,
you can't really tell yet because they're scheming. Her and her brother are kind of scheming, so I'm not positive. But you can kind of get a feel that she's sort of good, because she goes out after this and talks to her brother.
Yeah,
and Eardwulf is happy that he wants to kill Ethelfled.
Yes. And
Edith is like, no, I don't want that to happen. That's horrible.
Yeah. So this is where, I pick up that she seems like a good person.
Yeah.
They just want their family name cleared, and they want some to get back up to the status where they used to be.
And they're doing what they need to do to survive. Really, I feel like, they're doing what they're. It's not honest. It's not honest to Ethelred, but does he really deserve that? So.
He's a jerk. I really don't care who uses him.
Cut to Knut. The scene with Knut and Heston's there, and Breda, and Heston tells them that he wants out. Like he wants to go. He doesn't want to be part of this. Kind of wants to settle down. And Knut and Breda, I think they try to talk him into coming. He's like, this would be great. We're going to unite all these places, or we're going to, take over. And Heston goes like, oh, so you're going to unite all the Saxon kingdoms, great job.
Alfred would
be proud. Yeah. Alfred would like that. And so Knut actually is like, all right, you can leave, but you have to take my boys with you. And Breda's like, no. And Knut's like, they're still too young. It's too dangerous.
Breda's like, they need to see battle. They need to be able to kill themselves.
Yeah,
Oh!
come on. And Knut has a funny line here to Heston. He's like, teach them nothing you know. Then Knut walks away. And Heston actually goes and tries to start kind of making some moves. He's like, you ever get sick of Knut? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, to Breda.
He's like, I've had some wives in my past. I've had a lot of kids. So, you can come on over.
I think he said he has 7 kids or 9 kids or something. A high number of
10.
children. 10?
Thought so.
Wow. That's a lot of kids. A lot of little baby Hestons running around.
I know. I hope they all look exactly like him, just running around.
Just like
a big
smaller.
beard and just smaller.
Same beard and hair, everything.
Yeah.
Just 3 feet tall and 8 years old.
Yeah. Anyway, Breda said that's not really possible. And he's like, you carry his pup. Do you carry Knut's pup? And Breda's like, you can't tell Knut, she's like, because as Heston's like, I can tell by the tits, Yeah,
As one
science.
does.
Yes.
Science.
And Breda is like, you can't tell Knut. And the reason Breda doesn't want Knut to know is Knut wouldn't let Breda go into battle if he knew that he had an heir in her belly, right?
Yeah.
Risk could get that his heir being killed. And Breda really wants to kill Saxons. So she's like, you can't tell him before I go into battle with the Saxons because I really want to do that.
Breda wants to play on the game this Saturday and she doesn't want to get benched,
Yeah, so that you don't tell them about the sprained ankle that you had or the the broken bone that you might have,
Oh, yeah.
You don't tell them.
That's stress fracture. It'll heal.
It'll heal. I'm playing. That's it. She wants to play in the game. That's a good point.
She wants in the game.
So Knut's like, about his plan, he tells them, okay, we're going to attack Mercia now. We're going to do it at, first thing in the morning. We're going to attack them while they're still in their beds. Great plan. And then we get to an awesome pillage, a great pillage scene.
Ooh, yeah.
Great Viking pillage scene.
I don't know if we've seen such a Viking sort of raiding scene in the show for a while. I'm thinking the last time is maybe when they invaded Wessex in season 1. It's like the last time I can remember. I mean, we always hear about it, but I don't know if we've really seen it. Seen
the details of it.
Yeah, like raiding a town.
Siegfried and Eric. I don't think they show a lot of the Siegfried and Eric.
They usually show the aftermath. Like they've got.
There was season 3 when Skade, Bloodhair, they went in early in season 3 that one town where that church was.
Yeah, but that was just like a little church or whatever. Like you just see them killing some priests.
They shows them coming in at first and Skade setting some roofs on fire and it shows a few people dying.
Okay.
But not as detailed as this.
Yeah, this was more like from the show Vikings almost.
Yeah.
When they invade a new Saxon town to liberate from their money.
And Knut's going off here. He's no problem killing these innocent people with no weapons and no, but I mean that's what you do in a pillage.
Yeah.
But Knut, we learned last season, and we learned from Magnus talking to him from the books. Knut is supposed to be like the most talented sword Dane, like the most fearsome sword Dane of them all. And when we see him in season 3, episode 10, go off in that battle, he is like unstoppable. He
beast mode,
shredding through people. Like it's crazy. So there's a kind of a funny part here where he stabs somebody. He's like, all right, who's next? And they run. 2 guys are holding a guy by the arms, and he's just holding his sword out.
Yeah.
And they just run him through the sword.
Just rings him to him.
Yeah. And
volunteer.
Yeah, he's like, all right, who's next? As if he's serving soup or something in the cafeteria. Who's next? Boom.
Who's next?
That was pretty
literally what happens. Man, they raid that place good. That's for sure.
Yeah.
It felt bloodier, I guess. This is where I first noticed anyways. Seems bloodier and more gory. Blood kind of splash compared to previous seasons.
Now that I think about it, there's a couple pretty gory parts of this episode, especially in this scene.
Yeah.
It just seems like the blood splatter is different.
Seems more exaggerated than used to be.
It does seem exaggerated. I will say that. I always thought the show seemed extremely realistic.
Yeah.
Extremely realistic. The blood spatter this season sometimes is a little bit I've never seen a Viking pillage, and I've never seen someone get, chopped in the neck with an axe. So who am I to say? Who am I to say?
Yeah, you're right. I haven't seen one of these in person, but it does at times feel a little bit more like 300 than previous seasons of The Last Kingdom.
I think it's just different than the last 3 seasons. I think it's just different. I don't know if that's a bad thing. It's different, though.
We did talk about this. Our season 3 stuff isn't out yet, but we did talk that season 3 was the first season that Netflix sort of ran the show, but they already did have, episodes written for the show. They had scripts, things like that. I mean, we have heard that they changed the scripts on the fly, but they were still in this sort of mindset when they were working for BBC, is the impression I get. BBC, the British Broadcasting channel, where the first 2 seasons were aired. But this one was the first one that was ran by Netflix, produced entirely with the idea of being on Netflix, all that. So yeah, I wonder if that was maybe what influenced it. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it feels different. And it kind of,
there's a different feel.
Takes me out of it for a second. I'm just like, oh, this isn't
it's a bit different.
The show, but it is the show.
Still an awesome pillage scene, though.
Oh yeah, awesome pillage.
Still a wicked awesome pillage scene.
Yes.
So we can cut to Bebbanburg again, and someone is sailing up, and we're thinking to ourselves, is that Uhtred already?
Yeah.
That's like, this is an interesting scene where Aiden, I think, Elfrich says, send some men to go see who it is, and Aiden is like, no, like, I'm not going to risk anybody else's life. Aiden seems like a good dude.
Yeah, he said, I'm not going to send any more men to their death.
Their death. I'll go myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Elfric's like, that's why you'd never lead.
Yeah, that's a good line. And he's right, because you kind of have to make those tough decisions if you want to be a leader. It's kind of sad. It's kind of like in the real world, like they say a lot of like business people and CEOs tend to have less empathy because they don't really have problems with firing people or letting people go, laying people off, which makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, like personally me, I wouldn't have the heart to do something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's really hard for me to do. Like maybe I could do it if I was in that position and make hard decisions, but I couldn't do it easily. And I think that's where like someone like Elfrich, who might be somewhat of a 9th century sociopath, maybe doesn't care.
Yeah, this is why I would want to be on the Uhtred group. You know what I mean? I feel like everything gets ran by everyone.
Anyway, Aiden seems like a good dude. He goes down, and we don't really see who it is yet, but we see like we need to go get Elfrich for this. So he runs up. They get Elfrich. Elfrich comes down, and there's a guy in a picture. I've seen this guy's picture on Instagram a couple times.
Yeah, we talk about him, I think, in our trailer in our season 4 discussion. When The Last Kingdom put out pictures of some new characters, we had no idea who this Whitgar was. We just saw, they showed us the actor and they said he's playing Whitgar, and we haven't read all the books. I read the first one of the Last Kingdom, and I had no idea who this was.
Yeah, totally. Like, wasn't sure who he was going to be, and it turns out it's going to be Elfrich's son. Now they mentioned him in episode 1. They said that he died at sea, and Elfrich kind of goes like, "I thought you were dead." They told him that you were totally dead, and
he was banished or exiled too.
Yeah, he was banished by his father, which is interesting too.
They hint at it. They weren't on good terms then because of that. But then Elfric is kind of like, I'm glad you're back. I'm glad
he
you're
is.
not
He's like,
dead.
I'm really glad to see you. I'm glad you're alive. This is his heir,
Yeah,
and seems cool. He's like, I heard you were in trouble. I heard you guys were losing, or like you were running out of men, so I thought we'd come. And Whitgar seems totally cool with his dad now.
And Whitgar has been traveling too. He's been to like the Middle East, and he's got a whole. He was like, I need some diversity here in Bebbanburg. He's got a different crew.
He's got thugs with him. These guys are like intimidating looking dudes.
Yeah,
like you can tell. Like I think they're just like, go find the biggest people in Hungary. Bring him to the set this day, and I just need them to get out of the boat and walk in because these guys are just massive. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking in my head when I see this, like, this is going to become like the rival crew to Uhtred's crew right here.
Yep, that's what I was thinking. This is going
to be, we'll find out. Like, if Whitgar is the head of these dudes, he must have some serious kind of skill or something.
Yeah.
Whitgar's a pretty cool name too, so that helps.
It's different than Ethel's and Athel's.
Yeah, it's cool. I like Whitgar. Whitgar is like it's almost could be Viking. It could almost be
It does sound kind of
Whitgar.
Vikingish. Whitgar.
Yeah, it's cool. Cut to scene. Uhtred's in the boat, and him and Biaka see Bebbanburg.
Oh, yeah, this is a great scene.
Don't forget Biaka was in Bebbanburg for a while. I don't know if Biaka was born in Bebbanburg and raised there, but that's where he served when we met him in season 1. So
he
they
baptized Uhtred there twice. First time when he was Osbert, second time dunk him in, make him Uhtred to make sure the paperwork went through when Uhtred would die. Everyone would know his name was Uhtred then when he got to heaven. But that still didn't work on Uhtred. But anyway, that's like a big part of Uhtred and Biaka's relationship was formed there.
Yeah.
Edinburgh.
Biaka was still a mentor to him there growing up and everything.
Yeah.
So they see it. They have a moment there where they're looking at it, and they say how awesome it looks. I forget the exact words they use, but
Biaka's telling him too, like, I know you can do this. Like, I wouldn't encourage you to do this if I knew you wouldn't succeed at getting this. Because Uhtred is kind of hesitant. He's like, am I rushing the gun here? Like, I don't want my men to die.
He didn't get his army.
The
army. Oh, by the way, when he went to ask for the army, which was in episode 1, he said to Edward, he's like, if you gave me 100 men, I could take it in a week. If you gave me 200 men, I could take it in a day. And then we got it. It's that easy.
Yeah.
So Edward still doesn't give him any men. But anyway, so we're back here. Uhtred sees it. They cut to a scene with Aelswith, who's just trying to live her best life. And Hild comes up and they're having a conversation. And Aelswith's actually inquiring about Edwin and her children. Edwin is Edward's first wife, the illegitimate. That wasn't really illegitimate.
Yeah.
And her children. And Hild tells them like Edwin is not happy with her life. She's been taken from her kids, and she, not that she ever wanted to be a nun, and Aelswith actually says she like wants to somehow make amends.
Yeah. Also, before this too, another part where she starts to realize she's made some mistakes is that, in the last episode 1, she was like, she said to Biaka, I want you to leave while you're here. And then Father Purely comes up to her when she's walking by. She's like, oh, can you get Biaka? I need some advice on something. He's like, he left. You want him to leave, so he left. He didn't want to get killed. And she's like,
that's true. Yeah.
That's another mistake I made that I regret now. Just like,
totally.
Yeah, like you said, she's in this kind of state of regret. So now she's kind of thinking about...
You can like see the regret on her face. It's crazy. It's like not the Aelswith we know, who's been so cold in the past and bitter. Hild. His bitterness is not her. Come on, Hild. This is who she is.
This is one of her things under her character's name. Bitter.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's
she's inquiring about this the first wife to Edward that they shipped away, and then his children. And then Hild says, the first wife, she still has a loose relationship with her daughter. Sees her every now and then. Still not really official, but she hasn't seen her son since he was ripped from her when you and Alfred sent men for her. And she's just like, whew, like my relationship with my son is on the rocks right now, and that would just be terrible to never see your son again. She's like, it would be pretty shitty, wouldn't it? Just and
so Aelswith, like, it's so weird to see her like with regret and stuff, and for her to say she actually wants to do something about it and try to somehow make it better. So unexpected. Because I totally thought coming into this season, I totally thought that it was going to be Edward trying to get on Uhtred's side and Aelswith trying to like get in his ear saying like, no, like you need to not trust Uhtred and turn Edward against Uhtred. But it really, the whole time, it's Aelswith being like the cool person and Edward's the one that's being kind of a dick.
Yeah, he's being kind of a Knut now.
So it's very unexpected for me.
Yeah, you're right. This was a good sort of subverting expectations. This was more like a Russo brother subverting expectation instead of a Ryan Johnson. So I really like getting Russo brothered here with this.
So then we cut to kind of the post-raid activities in Elisberg, where the Knut had just taken it while Mercia was away, thinking that they were gone from East Anglia. So Knut's plan worked. They're in Ethelred's bed.
Yeah.
And Breda comes in and he's like, join me. Let's do some wrestling. And so they do some wrestling.
She just instantly takes her clothes off too. I mean, it's just like,
do some
bam,
wrestling.
Pants off. She gets on top, and then Knut does a great reversal. And just wham! Just
then
he's
her
on
to
top.
the ground.
Pinja. Great reversal on Knut there.
What were they doing though?
I still don't know.
I don't know.
I'm gonna keep Googling it.
I know. I'm gonna try to find out because
all the images I find just confuse me further.
I know. It's so weird. So anyway, Elswith, cool scene here where cutscene. Elswith is like in a nunnery, I think, or anyway, she's somewhere
nunnery.
Where Ethel Stein is. Now this is very interesting. This is very interesting.
Yeah, so I had to
Ethel Stein.
I had to rewind this too because they show this kid sitting on the steps, and then below him, where I always just see the name of the town in the kingdom. They're always like Winchester, Kingdom of Wessex, or something. And like I saw some words pop up, and I was like, I don't need to know where that is. I'm focusing on the kid. But then I saw Ethel Stein, first king, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
And then
first king of England.
Yeah.
And all the English.
Yes.
First king of all England in the English is the exact words it said.
So
and
it just sent like chills down my spine because Alfred always wanted England. And unfortunately, he died before he could get that actualized. But he set everything in motion. And now, here we are, the grandson of Alfred, the son of current King Edward, who doesn't seem to have the kingdom of England really on his mind. And now his son, who we thought was out of the picture, the show just instantly tells us this is the first king of all the English and England.
Yeah.
And it's
so unexpected and cool. And
they're just,
oh man,
it got me hyped.
Yeah. And again, this is a real character in history. Ethelstan was his reign. He was the king of the Anglo-Saxons from 1924 or 924 to 927, and then king of the English from 927 to 939. So that's he was the son of Edward the Elder and his first wife, Edwin. So this is the real future first king of all of England. It's awesome.
It's so interesting then, because then you're like, oh, so we're gonna get to see this in the show.
Yeah.
And I've heard in the books from Bernard Cornwell that his series is going to end when England sort of unites. So now it's like, here's like the first thing of like hinting at like what could lead to the end of the show,
Yeah.
And it's so cool. And the fact that he just outright tell you.
And he's just a kid.
Yes.
And he's just a little kid looking all innocent he's been taken from his parents. And he's a really cute kid. He seems like such a nice kid.
Yeah.
And she talks to him, and she's really nice. When she talks to him, and she says, "There's a lady who wants to meet you." Aylesworth kind of watches from the window as Edwin is like dressed as a nun, kind of reuniting with her son, and it's pretty awesome that got to happen. And you're kind of happy about it. It's like, oh, it's so sweet. Like they meet, and didn't last too long because Aylesworth later talks to Edwin, one-on-one, and Edwin doesn't recognize her. She's like, who are you?
Yeah.
It's like,
nobody.
What? You've not seen the Queen before?
And she even says, do I still not have any favor with the Lady Aylesworth or something like that? And
I guess she just never saw her.
Aylesworth's like, maybe. Or
you've never gone to a grovel and looked up at who's standing next to the king? I mean, I grew up going to like a dozen grovels a year.
She was probably paying too much attention to Aethelwald, one of his speeches. You know what I mean?
About tits.
About tits. Oh, the tits.
You're right. Well, she says he needs to be raised by a woman, it's wrong that he was taken, and he needs to leave. He needs to be moved.
And she said
And
she's going to take Ethel Stein then to
Yeah.
be raised at the castle
yeah,
back in Winchester. And they want to. So the big thing about keeping his identity secret, because this is the rightful heir to the throne. But right now, he is not the son of Edward's wife. So this would throw off Ethelhelm's plan of getting his seeds into the lineage of the throne, the legacy of the throne.
Season 3, Ethelhelm had suggested to have these kids killed, so there's no dispute.
Yes. So he would be a big target if anyone knew his identity. And that's one of the reasons, too, he's been in hiding, shipped away there. But,
Which is so cool. Like, it's just like right out of all the medieval kind of stuff I love. Like the heir to the throne is in hiding. Like,
Aelswith does seem legitimately regretting in this scene here, but she also seems like she's up to something in the fact that she hasn't been getting a lot of attention from Edward, recognition, and Ethelhelm has been sort of shutting her out. So I kind of see this as, well, what if I get this kid in as heir to the throne? It breaks up that union. He's gone. I can then control what's going on here. You know what I mean? And then the kid that I'm going to raise in secret then will be appreciative to me.
So here's actually what I get, though. I think she does have a different agenda a little bit. I think she does want to get Ethelhelm and Alfred and that kid out of the picture, right? And she wants this kid to be with it. But to me, it seems it's more because she is worried about what Ethelhelm's influence is going to be in the future. Like, I actually think she thinks that this kid will be better than Ethelhelm's kid. You know what I mean?
For Wessex or for her? You're thinking
for Wessex? For Wessex.
Yeah. Okay.
I buy that's what it seems like for me, because I think she sees the nastiness that Ethelhelm has, and she's like, if his grandkid becomes king, that's kind of how I look at it.
I see that. And like you said, Ethelhelm, who's really controlling Edward, has no interest in England. He is just interested in,
seems like he's interested
Wessex
in him.
is safe. Wessex is safe. King of Wessex. I don't really care about the rest.
True.
So yeah, I think you're right. I think she wants to honor Alfred's memory.
Yeah.
Kind of uniting them. I don't know. I still kind of get the vibe, though. She's kind of like tired of getting this. She hasn't been being recognized for her role, I guess. And I think she's like, oh, if I get this kid in here and he's the next heir, then I'll get some recognition. I think you're right, though, too, in that she is actually concerned about Wessex and Alfred's dream for England. And
because I really think she feels regret for some of the things
she definitely has regret, though. Yeah.
Anyway, cut scene to Breda and Knut. Breda and Knut flirting. And Breda's like got an appetite. She's eating something, and Knut's staring at her. And she's like, why are you looking at me? And he's like, what, does Saxon blood make you hungry? And she's nervous because she doesn't want him to find out she's pregnant, because he'll sit her out of the game, of the battle.
Play. She wants to play.
Yeah.
And there's a big game coming up, too.
Big game coming up.
No spoilers here.
We're not going to stop talking about it right now.
We're going to stop.
And then Steapa, they cut to Steapa, and he's bringing the news to Pure League first. Then Pure League tells Edward about what has happened with the Danes in Aylesbury.
Yeah.
And this is the best scene in this. Wow, it's a great episode. This is one of the best scenes so far, though. They go back like behind, and like all the people are there. Ethelhelm's there, Aylesbury's there, Father Pure League's there, everybody, Ethelfled, and it shows Edward, and it shows him just kind of zoning out, and you can, like, everything else, all the people are kind of blurred out in the background, and it shows him, and it just like voice after voice saying different things, but it's just like overwhelming him, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's so well done, and it's just like you're watching it, and it's like, oh my god, everyone shut up.
Yeah.
And it just shows the pressure he's under, all the different ways that people are pulling him.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that kind of shows how he's really struggling to handle all this pressure of being
that's a good point.
the king. It is such an awesome scene to see the pressure that it is on to represent this amount, the magnitude that is on Edward. Man, is it crazy.
That is a good scene. You're right. And then he's like, I will decide what to do with Knut and when, not you, not you, not you.
And what did this remind you of? Remind you of anything?
No.
Vikings in season 4. Vikings.
Oh yeah, Ragnar.
There's a scene where Ragnar. Everybody's trying to plan to get into Frankie. Spoiler if you haven't seen Vikings, and nobody's done it, and they're all trying to make up another plan. And Ragnar's like, if I could say something, and he's like, who's the king or something, and what do kings do? They rule.
Yeah.
And then he goes to Lagertha, and he's like, and as ruler, I have the last say. Not you, not you, not you, and not you. And that's exactly what this scene with Edward reminded me of.
Yeah.
I was like, and I said I was watching with my girlfriend. I was like, I think they just kind of took one from Vikings right there, to be honest. But it's still cool.
It's similar,
it's
but
cool.
It's a completely different setting though, and
it's a different setting, but it's like the same thing.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah.
So then they cut back to the boys ready to take Bebbanburg.
Yeah.
And looks like they're going to do some rock climbing.
Yeah. Doing some rock
for
climbing.
fun, for just for some recreational activity.
Yeah, build them back in the leg muscles.
Right. Right.
Grip strength. I mean, you ever tried choking a Dane out with weak grip? You need to build it. You need to build that grip.
Oh, and we missed a scene earlier. You know what? We missed a scene where young Uhtred goes and talks the priests into letting him join.
Oh, we can talk about that now.
Talk about it now, because this scene really kind of showed like this is Uhtred's son.
Yeah,
he runs up and these priests like think he's like a beggar. They don't want to take him, and he just like talks his way in.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh, this is very Uhtred like. He's getting his way in there.
Yeah, he doesn't give up, and he rides then with the monks then to Bebbanburg, and then again, Elfric is there, and the monks are like, we're here for the heart of Saint Oswald. Let's negotiate or whatever. And then at this point, Elfric has his son's men. He's good. He's like, I want to keep it. Goodbye.
Yeah.
And
they're like, a great Elfrich way.
Yeah. And they're like, could we at least like stay the night? And he's like, we're not aborting in. No. Bye.
Yeah.
And then again, young Uhtred, like you said, he's kind of taking it from his dad. He's just not giving up here. He lies. He's like, I have always heard about how great the Bebbanburg fort is. Oh wow, does that look cool? Yeah. Wow.
Well, he may have heard about how great the Bebbanburg fort is. Because it is a great fort. It is really. So Uhtred may have said stuff like that to him, but he's smart and he knows like maybe if I flatter him, maybe he'll let us in. And he says, and even Elfrich is like, oh, well, who doesn't take to a little bit of flattery? Oh, wow. Oh,
it is nice, isn't it?
Oh,
isn't it a nice fort?
Yeah.
He's like, I guess you guys can
stay. It's my fort, yeah. But he says something like, you don't have to give us the heart, but please do not deny my boyhood dream. Cool line.
They get in, but he's like, stick him in the slave quarters, though.
Yeah. So, he can't be that nice. Yeah, he can't be that nice. Then later, young Uhtred, it shows older Uhtred and Finan like looking over the rocks, and young Uhtred does a little shadow walking of himself. But, so he sneaks up, he kind of hides, the guards go away, and he takes some torches, and he throws the first one over, and I think they kind of see it, and they kind of like, well, someone could have dropped a torch. So they don't really do anything, and then the second one gets thrown, and this one like actually goes like all the way down the cliff.
Yeah,
that's there, and so it's pretty obvious that that's a sign to them. They're like, let's move, and so they scale the rocks.
Still Team 6 is going into action
Team
now.
6, yes. And here's a pretty cool part. They get down to like there's like a gate at the bottom of like the base of this huge rock cliff where they've like made a tunnel where boats can come and dock.
Yes, sea gate.
And that's
what they call it.
Yes. Yeah, and they get there and Uhtred goes to Finan, is like, which one do you want? And Finan's like, that one. And like they do a little knucks. And yeah.
And Finan just runs out. And they proceed to just wreck these guys.
Yeah, they do. It's pretty. There's only a couple guys there, but it's pretty easy to take them
Oh,
out.
easy for them.
Yeah.
And then,
so,
but now the gate is in their way, and they're having to wait on young Uhtred.
But young Uhtred's not going to show up because while he was on his way down to get the gate, someone named Whitgar puts a knife to his throat. Yes. And yeah, so that's not good. And Whitgar's like takes him up, is trying to figure out who he is. You know, young Uhtred's like, I was just lost, and Whitgar doesn't buy it. He's like, what are you doing? What's your purpose here? He's like punching him.
Yeah, who do you really work for? He gets out the other priests too. They're in the center square, and like everyone's there now.
Yeah, he calls everybody out. He's like, bring everyone to the square. Uhtred and the boys are trying to get in through that sea gate, but this thing is heavy and they can't lift it. So they actually get pretty smart.
Uhtred.
And they actually use science.
Uhtred uses real science here.
Real science.
He gets a lever system going with a heavy boulder.
Like a fulcrum. Yeah.
And he wraps a bunch of the oars together for lever arms on the fulcrum of that giant rock. And they start to lift the gate up because a lever makes it easier.
It's still really hard. It's obviously still really hard. They got like 4 or 5 guys each pushing down on this thing of this thing of oars. And Uhtred, by the way, this gate, the bottom of the oars are like point. Like
at the bottom of the gate.
Sharp points. At the bottom of the gate are like sharp points. So if this thing fell on you, you were toast. And Uhtred's like crawling under it, and it's pretty intense because they're like, you can tell one of the oars is about to snap because of the weight of the gate. And Uhtred's like halfway under it, and it does snap, but Uhtred like kicks through at the last moment. And it's like, it was a pretty intense scene.
Mm-hmm.
But then once he's on the other side of the gate, they pull. Uhtred's able to help them pull. They still have to push.
Lowers the gate. They get in though. And they get in and they see everyone gathered here in the center, and Uhtred's son right now has just been getting beat by Whitgar, and he's already killed the other 2 monks. He doesn't believe that what their mission was because he was out and about.
But what about one of the ways he killed the monks though? One of them he just slits the throat. The other one, he like goes up to him. He like puts the knife like to his throat and he like shoves it in.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, they're dead.
It's like, oh, this is a nasty dude. I was just thinking to myself, the throat stab, this is a nasty dude.
Oh, he's a nasty dude for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Then Alfred comes out after that, and
he's like, who are you, boy? And oh my God, what a great freaking scene. He's like, who are you, boy? And young Uhtred, who has never owned up to his legacy or anything, but now he's like, I am Uhtred of Bebbanburg. And I just like crap my pants.
And Alfred just mean mugging, and it's a great shot of him. That's like the one thing you don't say to him. Like not even as a joke.
And
Alfred doesn't believe it. He's just like,
and he gets he's like, kill the boy. A guy comes at young Uhtred. He's holding him off pretty well.
Yeah. So he fights, like the guy takes a knife out, and young Uhtred actually like tries to fight him.
Uhtred the older is there with his bro group, and they're coming and they're seeing everyone gathered up there, and they know they don't have the men to take on everyone, but his goal has always just been just kill Alfred then. But still Team 6. So he just goes up, sword to the back of his neck, and just gets him down on his knees and tells everyone to stand back. And you're like, what is going on here? And
he's like, he did it. Dang.
And he starts telling everyone, I am the true heir. I am Uhtred of Bebbanburg.
Yeah, he's like, you remember me, uncle? He's like hitting him on the head, like covering his mouth.
He's like, no one else has to die. I'm the rightful heir.
I'll treat you. Yeah, I'll protect you. If you serve me, just swear yourself to me.
Yeah. And then he sees Father Aiden, right? Father Aiden? I don't know.
Aiden?
Yeah. The guy who, served Alfred.
Yeah.
And he's like, what about you, Aiden? You know me. Will you swear for me? And then he gives this long speech, and then he's like, I will swear to the true heir of Bebbanburg. And then he's like, dramatic reveal. And up above is Whitgar with a crossbow.
First crossbow we've seen in The Last Kingdom.
Game
and he
changer.
said he got it from the desert. when we watched Vikings, one of the themes in the show was that the French had like this technology that was why they kept beating the Vikings. And one of those big pieces of technology was a crossbow.
Oh yeah.
And so I was expecting him to say, because there's kind of been some parallels between Vikings and the Last Kingdom. I thought he was going to say, I got this from France, but he said the desert. But yeah, so we got a crossbow. And he says, like, I could kill you in a second or something. And Uhtred's just like, the arrow would miss.
Because bows back then, if we talked about one of our season 1 talks, I think one of the reasons they didn't have a lot of archers was bows were hard skill to use, like a bowman who could actually use a bow well and hit something back then with the materials they had was pretty rare. So he's like, he has no confidence in this thing working on him. He's like, you miss. I'm invincible, bro.
Yeah. By the way, at this point, Alfred is on the smiling now. He's like, okay, now I'm in control because my son's got a, the crossbow pointed at you. So Wickar is pretty much like, everyone, hands up. This is a stick up. It's the first time this can ever be said. No. He calls Uhtred Osbert.
Yeah. Alfred, he's like, this is where you die, Osbert, or something. Just, you hate Osbert. That's not his name.
Yes.
He is Uhtred, son of Uhtred.
Yeah. And then Wickar pulls the trigger. And he didn't miss. He shoots his father, Alfred, in the eye. Holy moly. Totally didn't expect it. Totally unexpected. I was like, I totally thought Alfred was going to be like the big bad guy. Like there was going to be so hard to kill him.
I wanted him to be
not the way I expected him to go.
I wanted him to be too.
I kind of did want Uhtred to kill him, but I'm kind of happy with how it happened. I thought it was different than what I expected in a good way. Because now I think Wickar seems like a pretty tough dude, but I did want a little bit more Alfred because I thought Joseph Milson killed the role. I mean,
man, this might be sort of cliche for this sort of show, but I really wanted a duel between Uhtred and Alfred. I wanted,
especially after showing Alfred just battling on the beach, kicking butt.
That's what
I thought they were trying to build him up to show like he's not going to be an easy kill for Uhtred or something.
Yeah, that's the same thing. It's what I thought as well. And the trailer too for the season kind of makes it look like he'll be a big baddie for the season. And I was kind of thinking, all right, Uhtred might not get Bebbanburg this season because it's season 4. And I think there's like 12, 13, 14 books.
They do 2 a season
now,
roughly.
So I was like, all right, so that might not happen till maybe season 6, maybe season 7. I don't know.
Yeah.
But then when he was heading Bebbanburg, I was like, all right, maybe this is going to happen. But anyway, I wanted a duel between the two of them.
Totally.
I wanted like a big battle at Bebbanburg. I wanted like something happening where like it's just 2 of them left, like a Jon Snow Ramsay sort of situation at Winterfell, and like just the 2 of them just slugging it out for Bebbanburg. I mean, like, we come to really hate this guy here, but right now I'm just ticked off that they didn't Snoke Aelfric, but they came pretty close. I thought
it was a bit. I do kind of wish that he hadn't died so soon because I did think he was a great bad guy and they could have done more with him. But at the same time, the amount of shocked I was on the show and the as much as it surprised me, almost made it worth it because it was pretty shocking. I was like, whoa! I was like, whoa!
It was really shocking. I couldn't believe it. But like I said, I also don't know if this is like the Netflix end of the show where they're just trying to make it more of a standard sort of surprising show ending on a cliffhanger with a major character dying. I don't know. I'm not trying to knock the show in any way, but I wonder if that's what maybe did that, because I just felt like should have been way more between the 2 of them.
Yeah, it did seem like there was going to be way more. Again, I thought it was still like pretty crazy.
Again, yeah. I mean, I haven't been disappointed yet when after I see a whole season, I'm like, all right, they knew what they were doing with that. And again, I don't know if this is something that happens in the books. I don't know. So, Yeah, but I really wanted a battle between the two of them. That's what I wanted. But yeah, I mean that's the end of the episode though. And that's kind of why I give it an 8, because I enjoyed it. There were some funny parts throughout, and I just didn't like getting Rian Johnson there at the end. Kylo Ren just killed Snoke, and I'm just like, I want my Snoke though. I want my Snoke. I want my Snoke and a Coke. You know what I mean? I don't.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess I rated it the same as, what did I say, 8.5, the same as the first one, because I didn't mind it. I think the shock value and the twist there made it worth the character not being on anymore to me. So I'm okay with it.
Let's go. Yeah, what was your favorite bro moment?
Probably Byakuya talking to young Uhtred about Uhtred.
I thought that was really good. Since you picked that, though, it wasn't like extremely awesome, that bro moment. It was good. It was a great Byakuya bro moment. I'm going to have to go with just the gang when they enter the bar, the ale house there, and they're all just sort of picking on Osferth. I don't know. It just shows their camaraderie a lot. And then just the exchange between Uhtred and Osferth, how he said, it's like, they wouldn't believe I was a virgin, just all that. That was my favorite bro moment from it.
Yeah. My favorite moment from the show, I mean, from a director standpoint and a filming standpoint, I thought the scene with Edward and all the voices was so well done. I really liked how they did that. So I got to pick that.
Oh, okay.
And also just them SEAL Team 6ing it in.
That's mine. SEAL Team 6 in, climbing through the rocks. Uhtred saying, which one you want. Finn running out like a madman. The ingenuity they had to get into the gate. And then young Uhtred saying, I am Uhtred of Bebbanburg to Alfred. It was just, that was all sweet.
That was a cool moment too. Yeah.
All sweet.
Great episode.
Anything else for episode 2 of season 4?
I think it leaves a good cliffhanger going into episode 3, because they're still kind of there at held at crossbow point.
Yeah. That's where we leave off. They're held at crossbow point. I guess he reloaded really quick since no one moved. That's one thing I was thinking was like, that's got to take some time to reload though,
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I think you have to stand, you have to load it in and stand on it and pull the bowstring back. I think so on the old ones. I don't know. They might have a crank or something. There's probably some crossbow expert that's going to correct me.
It's not like a bow
and
arrow where you can just whip it out.
Yeah, you can't just whip it out.
Yeah. Well, you can.
Yeah.
But
are we talking like Breda and Knut now? Just whipping it out?
I was talking about arrows and bows and arrows.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I got confused.
Yeah, thank you for listening. And you can listen to all of our podcasts on any podcast platform that you like. So pick your favorite one and take a listen. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. On Instagram, we're at the Screen Chronicles _ on Facebook. And subscribe to us on YouTube, by the way. We're just the Screen Chronicles on Facebook and YouTube.
The Screen Chronicles. Thanks for listening, everyone. We're going to have episode 3 out as well pretty soon here, if not out at the same time. But yeah, so stay tuned, subscribe, follow us, and stick with the Screen Chronicles for all your things Last Kingdom here for these next month or two. We've got some other guests lined up for us to talk to, so stick with us. And let us know in the comments too, your best bro moment, your favorite moment. Keep it to this episode though. Don't give out any spoilers for other episodes, in case someone else who is looking at this hasn't seen the whole thing yet. Yep. So be mindful of that. All right.
Okay.
Destiny is all.
Destiny is all.